What's up, well builders? Today I'm going to give you 7 tips to permanently increase your focus in the next 24 hours. You can execute all of these right now, today, and I promise you, you're going to be more focused, more productive, and more disciplined. Let's hop into it. Tip number 1, identify and eliminate. Right now, you have so many things distracting you in life, and you don't even know which ones they are. It might be your phone, it could be social media, it could be text messages, it could be emails. There are so many distractions in life. And when we're being inundated with so many different, notifications and so many new videos and so many different issues and fires going on, you are going to get distracted very easily. I mean, right now when I was making the video, when I was scripting this out, I was getting text message after text message. I was getting, notification on Slacks. I was getting emails. I'm getting all these things going on. And so for me, I got to look at it and say, all right, if I'm focused at a task at hand, how do I eliminate all my distractions to focus on whatever it is I am trying to do right this moment? And so you've got to just eliminate all the distractions and focus on one thing. Like, we as humans, as much as we think we're good at multitasking, are not. It might take me 2 hours to go figure out how to make this video if I'm trying to multitask while I do it. But if I just focused on it and I eliminated everything else, I could probably script this out in the next 15 minutes. So at the end of the day, which one is better overall? Well, it's better for me to just knock this out in 15 minutes. Then once it's done, go look at the emails, go look at the text messages. Like, nothing's going to happen because, I waited a little bit of time. And so many of us think we got to be in this world of instant responses to everything going on in our lives, when in reality, it's better to just cut them out, eliminate them while we focus at the task at hand. And some of you guys, right? I'm just talking about temporarily eliminating them while you do a certain task. But some of you guys need to eliminate different things in your life permanently, right? There are some of you who social media is a big problem. You're spending 3 hours a day on TikTok, on Instagram. You might be better off just purely eliminating it. Because when you look at the pros and cons of it and you're like, man, I spend 3 hours a day over here and, now I'm neglecting my family or I'm not getting my work done. Well, clearly Instagram is not helping you. And, a lot of people will say, well, Instagram is helpful. It's for my business. I watch really good content. It's like, no, okay? When we look at what's most important to you in your life, if Instagram is getting all this time and all these other things that are supposedly more important, like your business, your family, your faith, your health, all those things are being neglected, but Instagram gets all this time, then it's not important. Like, it's not as good for you as you think it is. And so it's more for enjoyment than it is for actual productivity. And so you've got to be able to identify what are the things that distract you and make you unfocused, and then eliminate them to the degree at which you need them to be eliminated. It could be permanently on the far end, delete the app, delete the account, whatever the case is, or it could be eliminated for a period of time. And you could say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna test it not having this app for a week. Let's see how productive I am. Hey, I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna not go on this app for the next 30 minutes while I do this task, while I read this book, while I write this script, while I do the sales call, whatever the case is, right? So identify and eliminate, okay? Tip 2, prioritize what you procrastinate. So we all procrastinate things, whether we believe it or not. For me, I actually procrastinate like doing scripts like this for YouTube. It's not my most favorite thing to do. I would much rather just go out and, go do videos on the fly, not think about it. I would much rather do many other things in my life and in my business. Scripting videos is probably like very low down there on the totem pole. Now, that being said, today I am getting this done the first part of the morning because I am prioritizing what I would otherwise procrastinate. Because here's the thing. If I wanted to say, hey, by the end of the day, I'm gonna script this whole YouTube video and get it done, I'm gonna be thinking about it the rest of the day. And so I'm gonna spend the next 8 hours while I'm here doing other things that are also very important for my business. And I'm gonna be thinking about this other thing I still have to do that I don't necessarily wanna do. So instead of that, instead of having 8 hours of like basically not focused because I'm worried about this other thing I gotta finish, I just say, you know what? Everything else that I'm okay doing, I don't need to procrastinate it, I'm good doing it. Let's push those back and instead prioritize the thing you would usually procrastinate. So now it's like, okay, I'm gonna script this video, I'm gonna film it, and then I'm gonna be done with it. I don't gotta worry about it anymore. And then now I'm going to be mentally free to go do the other task at hand, and I'm going to be completely focused on those tasks while I'm doing them because I don't have this thing in the back of my mind anymore about, having to go make this video and script it still and like, what are the topics I'm going to talk about? What are the keys going to be? Like, none of that has to happen because I'm just prioritizing the thing I would otherwise procrastinate. Now, this applies to everything in life on either a daily basis or weekly basis or even a monthly basis, right? So when I look at how I schedule out my week in my business, I basically prioritize the things that, I otherwise maybe wouldn't want to do as much. And so Mondays, literally the first thing I do on Mondays from 9 to 11 is I do my meetings. And trust me, I don't like doing these meetings. I got to do the marketing meetings. I got to do the sales meetings. I got to do the whole company-wide meeting. Got to do my social media meeting. I hate sitting in meetings. I like just doing stuff. But guess what? The meeting's important. And so instead of procrastinating and being like, oh, well, we'll get to the meeting whenever we get to the meeting. It's like, no, we're going to just schedule it very first thing in the day and just get it done so we don't got to worry about it anymore. Because guess what? By getting that meeting done first part of the week, it now gives everyone clarity on what else we need to accomplish the rest of the week. And guess what? That's how you get things done. That's how you have productivity. That's how you make progress. You don't make progress when people waste time, when they don't know what's important. They don't know what to do because you didn't do the right thing in sequence. And so for me, a lot of the things you procrastinate are things that need to get done that are really important. And that's why you dread doing them because you know how important they are. So, it's easy to go do things that aren't that important. It's usually easier. So for me, it's like, all right, the start of the week, I want to get all of those meetings done. Also, too, start of the week, I want to get these YouTube videos done. This is the very beginning of the week that I'm filming this. I want to just get it done so I don't have to worry about it the rest of the week. Another thing, right? Just doesn't even have to be things you would procrastinate, but just different obligations. And so I have my coaching calls every Tuesday. Right? There's a reason I don't have them on Wednesday or Friday or, even just spread out into multiple days. I do strictly my calls on Tuesday, 11:30 and 1 o'clock Pacific time. And, for me, it's just like, I would rather get those done early in the week and just know they're done. All right? I don't want to have to think about, hey, what's the topic I'm going to go over this week? And then, I'm thinking about it all week, Thursday through Friday or, Monday through Friday. I would rather just say, hey, I have to get this done by Tuesday, and it's got to be done. And I got to, present and give a great call for all of our students and our community and everything else. And so Tuesday is when I want to do it, so I'll have to worry about it the rest of the week and worry about what I'm going to talk about and plan and all that stuff. So a very similar concept in that regard. And the only reason I do it Tuesday instead of Monday is because on Monday I got all those meetings. I've got YouTube videos. I got that stuff that I would procrastinate even more. So I get that done, and then Tuesday I do my coaching calls, and then literally after those calls, I have nothing else the rest of the week that I am obligated to do in my business. The rest of it is all stuff that I would never procrastinate that I consider fun, to be honest. Like, I consider them fun. I get to go on meetings. I get to do podcasts with people. I get to, do it's just whatever I feel like doing. Whatever I think is going to be the most productive, task for the business. So prioritize what you procrastinate. Get it done early in the week. Get it done first thing in the day. And I promise you, you're going to be able to focus so much better on that task because you have to do it now. You're forcing yourself to do it. But also you're going to have more focus on all the tasks after that. Tip number 3, choose your environment. So I've realized that over the years, I do different tasks better in different environments. And so right now, I am here inside of my office. What I do really well inside of this office is I do Zoom calls, I can film content, I can take meetings. That's pretty much the extent of what I do really well here. I can write emails and that type of stuff, but overall, that's why I would be in my office. Now, there are other settings that I do other things really well in. So for example, every morning I do my morning routine where I read my Bible, I pray, I memorize scripture, and, I devote my first hour of every morning to God. And so for me, that is super important to do. Now, at the end of the day, I feel really good doing that inside my house, in my dining room. And that's just where I just feel like the most focused. It's just like my zone where I'm at. Sometimes I'll go outside in my backyard and do it, and that also is a good spot for me. But I would not do it very good if it was here, right here at my office with everyone else around me, right? Like if I tried to go do that, at 9 a.m. right when I came in, there's all these distractions going on. There's people working. I'm getting pulled different ways. It's just not going to be as effective. Also, too, the time of day matters. So if I'm doing this at 5:30 in the morning, like I know I'm not going to have distractions. I'm doing it in my dining room. Like I know nobody else is walking around. Nobody's texting me. It's the perfect time to do that task. And so if I try to go do it later on in a different environment, I'm not going to have as much success with it. If I try to go do it at night when all my kids are awake and they're running around and I'm tired from the day and everything we did, it's just not going to be as effective. And I'm also not going to get the benefits of having done it in the morning where now I feel spiritually renewed and I get to carry that on throughout the day. So, at the end of the day, timing matters and the environment matters for when you do things. I've also realized, even for me, like a lot of the things that I've built over the years, I've built it very early in the morning, whether it's a product or a marketing campaign or something like that. I like to build it, when nobody's awake, nobody's around. It's usually after my time of prayer because, I just did that. Now I'm feeling like spiritually rejuvenated. I'm feeling mentally really good. I have no distractions still. And so I know like I can knock out a good hour of doing stuff before my kids wake up, my wife wakes up, and all these other things. And so I found that that's a really good, what I would call creative time for me, is like right after that time with God. And I've realized that I'm not very creative right here at this office. Like if it's 10 a.m. like it is right now filming this video, I am not very creative. I'm good at just doing the things I've already planned on doing, but I'm not good at coming up with new ideas and things because it's in the middle of the day. I'm getting distracted from all these different things, and it's just a time to execute. And so you got to understand for what task you're trying to complete, what is the best environment to do that task, whether it's timing or whether it's the actual like physical location. I also know for me, when I read books, I like to read them before I go to bed. That's just for me like the best time to read a book. Once again, I don't have distractions from work and other things. I can focus on the book. And I also like that a book just naturally makes me tired for whatever reason. And it's a good way for me to fall asleep. When I'm working out, that's when I like to watch YouTube videos. When I'm watching YouTube videos and working out, it's just kind of like this double whammy where I can go watch great content from some of my favorite creators while I'm also, getting a workout in, versus if like I'm trying to go watch content standalone, I get distracted easily with my kids and everything else. So, working out's a great time to do that. Which also leads me into tip number 4, which is control what you consume. So the stuff that you consume every single day is going to impact how well you can focus, for sure. I mean, like if you're just consuming negative content all day, or you're watching the news all day, they're just talking bad about everybody. They're just gossiping. It's all negative. People are hating. If you watch that kind of content, whether you realize it or not, you are going to become a hater. You're going to become a negative person. That is going to be the lens at which you see the world. But you probably don't even realize it. But, when you get attracted to that kind of content, that kind of entertainment, whatever you want to call it, you are going to see the world through that lens. And then guess what? That distracts you when you do everything else. You might be reading a book, something that is really good for you, but all of a sudden now you have this skeptical attitude towards, I don't know if this could be legit or not. It's because of all the other stuff that you are consuming. And so you have to control what you consume. This comes from social media. This comes from the movies you watch. This comes from the music you listen to. This comes from the books you read. This comes from the people you hang out with. You've got to control all of these things. When I see these guys who are so miserable about dating and, other stuff, it's because guess what? They're on social media all day, just looking at these girls, and it's not even like a realistic representation of, the girl they're gonna get. And so they're just disappointed with their life. Then they start watching porn. Then they start doing all this stupid stuff. And guess what? Their life is a reflection of the things they consume because their mind has been polluted by just consuming the wrong things over and over again. And then they wonder why they're depressed. They wonder why they can't focus at certain things. And so my point is that you don't just instantly become depressed. You don't instantly just start, feeling a certain way. You do it because you've consumed certain things over time and you started to develop this ideology and this, philosophy because of the things you are consuming. Everybody is a product of what they consume. This is true of your health, the food you consume, the drinks, the drugs, all these things. It was funny. I was going to make a joke in this video of like, hey, the number one way to, focus is to take Adderall. Like that was going to be a joke at the beginning. I didn't do it, but maybe I should have. But nonetheless, it's obviously a joke, but it's kind of not a joke because there are certain people who think, oh man, like as long as I've got Adderall and other drugs, then I'm going to be able to focus. That's what I'm lacking. And it's like, no, fool, that's not what you're lacking, okay? You don't need drugs. You can do certain things that are going to increase your focus naturally. And more than likely, you just have a discipline problem. You've got a strategy problem, all those things. And, even if a drug might help you because you have a medical condition or whatever the case is, it's still not going to stop you from all the things we're talking about right now with your environment, with how you decide to structure your day. And these are all just applicable things. Drugs is just a temporary fix. So, at the end of the day, the reason I say that is you got to control what you consume. All the way from the content, the people, the drugs, the food, all of this stuff is impacting your ability to focus. Now, if you can figure out the negative things that you're consuming and replace them with the things that you want to become like, right? For me, I consume, every morning, I talked about my morning routine, praying, reading my Bible, memorizing scripture. I'm consuming what I believe is the most valuable thing I can consume, the Word of God, the creator of me. He's given me a book and told me how to live life. Now, I believe that it is inspired by God. I believe that the Bible is the best guide to life, and all the answers that I need to live a fulfilling life are in there. That is my mindset based on what I consume. Now, some of you guys don't have that mindset, and that's perfectly fine. But your mindset came from somewhere. It came from your favorite influencer. It came from other books you've read. It came from your parents. It came from your siblings, your boss, your coworkers. It came from somewhere. You don't just believe what you believe because you created this new philosophy out of thin air and it's never been done before and you just had the greatest revelation ever. That's not what happened, okay? Your belief system is dictated by your environments, mine included, right? Like I believe that because I grew up in the church and I've seen it firsthand, everything else and how my life has evolved over time. And I've seen it play out and work over and over again in my life. I've seen it work for other people. That's why I believe it. So, what I consume dictates who I am and what I do and what I prioritize and how I focus. And so make sure you control what you consume, guys. Point number 5, get to the point. Like at the end of the day, so many people are wasting so much time not getting to the point, right? They are wasting time in small talk. They are doing things that aren't that important. Just jump into the task. Like, I don't know an easier way to say this. I was like trying to think of a unique spin on this, but like one of the ways to focus better is to just do it. It's just get into the task. You don't need to do all this warm up. You don't need to, question every little detail of the task. You don't need to, read 20 books on the subject. You don't need to procrastinate and do all this crap. Most of the time, people are just making excuses not to do the thing. So just get to the point and quit wasting time BSing until the point happens, okay? Like, just get to it. When people come to me for a meeting, all right, like I recently did this thing where we ran a 24-hour promo where I said, hey, I am going to do one-on-one coaching for 45 minutes for $1,000. I've never done that before. Had like 30 people buy it in 24 hours. And then my calendar was packed for like the next 2 weeks. But with that, I got to see something really important. I got to see how people treated the 45 minutes because it was like, well, dude, we only have 45 minutes. So, are you going to spend 30 minutes telling me your life story and then that's it? Or are we going to just jump straight to the point, right? And I kind of had to take initiative on these calls because I want them to get value. And I'm like, hey, obviously you guys already know who I am. You guys bought the thing. So let's just jump straight into it. What's your problem right now? What do you got going on that you need help with? That's literally how I started almost every call. So as they don't waste their time. So we can make this productive and efficient. And so focusing is super, super important. Even in my business, like I try to tell people, I'm like, hey, people know, like, don't come in the office if you're just going to waste time. Like come in prepared, ready to talk about whatever you want to talk about, And by the way too, I don't like doing these, hey, like, can I get 5-minute type deals? Like, no, nothing really needs 5 minutes. It's like, usually it's a yes or a no. You know, it should take like 20 seconds. Or it should be much longer than 5 minutes. Like, there should be no 5-minute meeting, is my point. It's either 30 seconds or it's either 30 minutes. That's how it should go in my mind, because we're gonna go workshop something for 30 minutes and figure out a solution that we don't have to. But if you already think you could give me the problem and a solution in 5 minutes, I'm sure you could explain it to me in 1 minute or 30 seconds, okay? So let's stop wasting time and let's just get to the point. Tip number 6, eliminate the $10 an hour task. Most of the time we're distracted is because we actually do have things to do. They're just not valuable things to do. So, you know, a $10 an hour task is all of these little things you do, right? I mean, could be clearing out emails that a VA could do instead. It could be scheduling posts. It could be, you know, booking just different things with clients or whatever the case is, right? I mean, we all have $10 an hour tasks that we do. And if you don't know what those are, then do a time audit of everything you do for a week and then start grading yourself and say, hey, what did that task make me? Like, what could I have paid somebody else to do that task? Now, some of you guys are like, well, Ryan, I can't pay anyone to, you know, do these tasks for me. Like, I'm broke. Well, that's why you're broke, because you do majority $10 an hour task. The only way to not be broke is to do less of those and more $100 an hour task, $1,000 an hour task. You get the point. So, you know, you got to start eliminating the things that are just sucking up all this time that's wasting it. You know, recently I had a one-on-one client. They got a big realtor team and a downline and all this stuff. And he was like, bro, we spend the majority of our time, you know, basically like answering all their questions. And I was telling him, I was like, bro, that little team right there don't even make you guys close to the amount of money that your production and everything else makes you. I'm like, you're spending all your time over here servicing these realtors who don't even make you money. And that time could have been spent over here on your production and your social media and your brand and everything else that does make you money. It could make you significantly more money. So why don't we just stop doing that? Because that's a $10 an hour task, clearly. Like, that's literally what it's making. And start doing this. And guess what? If those realtors get mad, let them leave. It doesn't make you anything. You're not in the business of building a realtor team out of like a goodwill and a nonprofit. You know, if you want to go start a nonprofit for realtors, that's what we call things that don't make money. They're called nonprofits or hobbies, okay? But if it's a business, then it better make you money and it better be the highest use of your time to make money. So, you know, do the things that make you money. Quit doing the things that don't. It's very simple. And most of your tasks and most of your distractions are from things that don't make you money. All right. Lastly, number 7, if you want to focus better, the last tip and most important tip would be to pray. Now, for me, I talked about how I always start every morning with prayer and reading my Bible and everything else. But one of the products of that is that by praying every morning, I have to figure out how to focus my mind, how to clear my mind and just think about God. Just think about, you know, my relationship with Him and praying to Him and being very intentional. Because, you know, so many times, right? I mean, our mind is just full of all this different stuff, right? And so we're constantly consuming information. We're constantly talking to people. And it's like, we don't even know how to be still and how to be alone. Most people never spend more than 2 minutes alone. Like, because think about it, even when you're in the car, you turn on music. Like, being able to be silent, be still. And even if you don't pray, even if you meditate, that is such a valuable skill for focusing. Like, just think about it right after this video. Go try to sit still for 10 minutes and block out your thoughts, your feelings, and just be still. If you can master the art of being still and focusing on something that's much bigger than yourself, right? Anxiety, fear, depression, all those things come from selfishness. They come from you thinking about you and every problem that you have. If you can focus on something else that's bigger than you, for me, that's Jesus. It's going to make you think different, and you're going to develop a new skill for learning how to focus your energy and time properly. And so for me, that has helped so much beyond all the ways God's blessed me, but just that discipline of being able to be still, be quiet, be alone. And some of my best ideas, some of my best, you know, breakthroughs have come during that time. I know it can happen for you. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want more like this, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.